If you're wanting to improve your mobility or flexibility, you're going to want to watch this video. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm the personal trainer and running coach at Kathletics. Here at Kathletics, we're all about meeting you where you are in your fitness so you can hybrid train in a sustainable way. Now, when it comes to both mobility and flexibility, we want to be addressing both strength training in your end ranges of motion, as well as addressing static stretching and dynamic stretching. So we're going to break down each one of those and decipher when we should be doing these. First things first, we want to address what mobility even is. So mobility is when we are moving, we are getting into those end ranges of motion. You're especially working on this with strength training, for example. So if you're going into a squat, that end range of motion is encouraging that mobility at the hips, at the knees, at the ankles. So when you think mobility, think movement. Whereas with flexibility, we are thinking about holding a position and seeing how far we can go, what that flexibility looks like for your quad, for your hamstrings, whatever the muscle group is that you're working on. So again, mobility, movement, flexibility, holding, which we can separate these two as both dynamic stretching and static stretching. So dynamic stretching is going to be more of the mobility factor, whereas your static stretching is going to affect more of the flexibility factor. And again, we want to bring it back to the strength training portion. So while you're strength training, you are going to be going into that end range of motion. So we are working through the mobility, but both mobility and flexibility affect those things. So we need to keep that in mind as you go through your training program and as you progress throughout. Now, when do we do our dynamic stretches as well as our static stretches? Now, you may have seen some people do some static stretches before either their lift or their run or whatever activity they're about to do. And while that might not be inherently wrong, I would encourage you to do dynamic stretches first. Dynamic stretches are going to be ones that are getting more into your end range of motion, as well as letting the body know that, hey, we're about to move. So for example, if you do a cat-cow, we're getting the spine moving, and letting it know, hey, we need to be a little bit more mobile, especially if you've been sitting or more sedentary throughout the day. And we could even get into the thoracic spine, so reaching through and up. And those are just a couple examples for your back, as well as if you did your hamstrings, you could think about hamstring sweeps. So putting your heel down, kind of swiping right next to the leg, and that is going to get more into the hamstrings to let them know, hey, we need to get moving here. We need to get the blood flowing. And that is going to be more for the dynamic stretches. Why I don't recommend doing static stretches before your workout is because it actually has been shown to decrease your power output. So if you go and do a quad stretch before you're about to run, that could potentially decrease the elasticity and your power. So when you're getting ready to go, which is exactly the opposite of what we want to do before a run, right? We want to have the power and elasticity to move quickly or move at whatever pace that you are going for that run. There are going to be some cases where you do see static stretches within your program as part of your warm-up. And this is going to be more so prescribed by physical therapists due to whatever reason that you may be experiencing. So say something's going on in your hips, your physical therapist may or may not provide a warm-up that is a static stretch to address that issue. So I do want to say there is that little caveat that maybe not in every single instance dynamic stretches are going to make sense. But overall, dynamic stretches are going to help you be prepared and get the blood flowing and get you ready for that workout you're about to do. On the other hand, static stretches are generally going to be for your post-workout. Now, this is because I would say this is generally part of a cool down, and during the cool down, we're letting the CNS or your central nervous system know, hey, we can kind of chill out now because we've done the hard work, we've got it done and dusted. Now we can relax, we can get deeper into the muscles that we worked and just kind of hold there. So we want to hold there for about 20 to 30 seconds per whatever muscle you're working on. So for example, again, if we're doing a hamstring stretch, we can put the heel down, staying nice and straight through the back, and we can feel that hamstring stretch, and you'll hold there for about 20 to 30 seconds. Then when you switch, same thing here. What I don't want to see is that we're like, okay, I'm all cooled down. That's not really giving your body a chance to take a breather, really get into the muscles that you are using. I highly recommend, if you are working on your flexibility, that you do take those 20 to 30 seconds, breathe deeply into each muscle, and let that relax, let that come down, and get the most out of your cool down. If you have questions on the difference between dynamic and static stretches, please let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, be sure to like, subscribe, and then we'll see you in the next one.